The sky burned red over what remained of New Denver. Smoke clouds hung like dark shrouds above the ruined buildings. It had been 3 years since the Zendari ships first appeared in Earth's orbit. 3 years of fighting, dying, and losing. Alan. Rogers stood at the viewport of Artemis Station, his hands clasped tightly behind his back. At 45, the captain's dark hair had gone almost completely gray in the past year. Deep lines marked his face, and his blue eyes had lost their spark. He watched as the last organized human battle group fought desperately near Jupiter. "Status report," he said quietly. Officer Lisa Wells looked up from her console. Her uniform hung loose on her thin frame. No one had eaten well in months. "It's not good, sir. Battle Group 7 is down to 3 ships. The Zendari have them surrounded." Alan nodded. He had expected this. The alien ships moved with perfect unity, like parts of a single organism. Their weapons cut through human shields as if they weren't there. Their hulls seemed to repair themselves even as they fought. "Any word from Luna Base?" he asked. Lisa shook her head. "Nothing for 6 hours, sir. The last message was broken. Something about final protocols." Final protocols meant Earth's leaders were preparing for defeat. Alan closed his eyes briefly. 20 billion humans had already died across Earth and the colonies. Soon, there might be none left. "Sir," another officer called out. 5 Zendari cruisers just appeared on long-range scanners. They're heading straight for Earth. This was it then. The final attack. Alan straightened his shoulders. "Send an alert to all remaining stations and outposts. Tell them." He paused. What could he possibly say? "Tell them to hold as long as they can." Far away, on Saturn's moon Titan, Lieutenant Kate Monroe received the alert. The small outpost had somehow remained hidden from the Zendari, tucked away in a deep canyon. Only 30 people remained at the station, mostly technical staff and a few soldiers. Kate was in the communications center when the message came through. Her heart sank as she read it. Earth was about to fall. She was about to alert the others when another signal cut through, a private, encrypted channel. The tired face of Admiral Gregory Winters appeared on her screen. "Lieutenant Monroe," he said. His voice sounded rough and dried blood crusted one side of his face. "I don't have much time." "Admiral," Kate said, shocked to see him alive. "Where are you? We thought Luna Base was lost." "It is. I'm sending this from an emergency bunker. Listen carefully, Lieutenant. There's a ship, a special project called the USS Defiance. It's hidden in the asteroid belt at these coordinates." Numbers flashed across her screen. Kate quickly copied them down. "The Defiance is our last hope," Winters continued. "Most powerful ship we've ever built. Experimental technology. Could change everything." "Sir, I don't understand. Why are you telling me this?" Winters coughed, wincing in pain. "Because everyone else who knew about it is dead. I need you to gather any crew you can find and get to that ship before the Zendari discover it." "But sir, I'm not qualified to—" "You're all we have left, Lieutenant." Winters looked over his shoulder as a loud bang echoed. "They're here. Remember the coordinates. Find the ship. It's humanity's last chance." The transmission cut off abruptly. Kate stared at the blank screen, the coordinates clutched in her hand. She took a deep breath and ran to find the outpost commander. Back at Artemis Station, Alan Rogers watched as the Zendari ships entered Earth's orbit. They moved with terrible grace, their black hulls reflecting the fires burning on the planet below. "All hands to battle stations," he ordered, though he knew it was hopeless. The station's weapons might take down one Zendari ship before they were overwhelmed. As the crew rushed to their positions, Alan's second-in-command stepped beside him. "It's been an honor, sir," said Commander Paul Grant. Alan nodded. "Likewise, Paul." The first Zendari shots hit the station with stunning force. The lights flickered, and warning alarms blared. Alan grabbed a railing to steady himself. "Return fire," he ordered. "Target the lead ship." Artemis Station's main cannon fired, a brilliant beam of energy that struck the first Zendari cruiser. For a moment, Alan allowed himself to hope as the alien ship seemed to falter. Then its hull shimmered and repaired itself. The Zendari ships continued their advance undamaged and unstoppable. "Sir," Lisa called out, "they're targeting our power core." Alan knew what that meant. Once the core was hit, the station would explode. He made his final decision. "Evacuate the station. All personnel to escape pods now." "What about you, sir?" Paul asked. "I'll make sure everyone gets off. Then I'll follow." Alan didn't mention that he planned to stay behind to manually override the self-destruct sequence. If he was going to die, he would take as many Zendari with him as possible. The crew hesitated, but only for a moment. They had followed his orders for years. They would follow this last one too. As the escape pods launched, Alan made his way to the central control room. He locked the door behind him and began entering the self-destruct codes. The station shook violently as another hit landed. A support beam fell, striking Alan's leg. He cried out in pain but dragged himself to the console to finish the sequence. "For Earth," he whispered as he pressed the final button. A 15-minute countdown began. On Titan, Kate Monroe had convinced the outpost commander to let her take a small transport ship. 4 others had volunteered to go with her, people who had nothing left to lose. "We leave in 6 hours," she told them. "Pack only what you need. It's going to be a dangerous journey." As her team prepared, Kate studied star charts, plotting a course through Zendari territory to the coordinates Admiral Winters had given her. It would take them through asteroid fields and gas clouds, places where they might avoid detection. Looked at the small group who had agreed to follow her on what might be a suicide mission. A young engineer named Sam Bishop, Dr. Laura Phillips, a military scientist, Tactical Officer Joe Martinez, Communications Specialist Diane Carter, and Navigation Officer Billy Thompson. They didn't know what they would find at those coordinates. They didn't know if the Defiance actually existed or was just the desperate hope of a dying man. But they knew they had to try. As Kate's team prepared to leave, reports came in from Earth. Artemis Station had been destroyed in a massive explosion that took 3 Zendari ships with it. Earth's major cities were falling one by one. The Zendari ground forces were moving across the planet, wiping out all human resistance. It seemed that humanity had been defeated. But somewhere in the asteroid belt a ship waited, a ship that might change everything. Kate checked her weapon and looked at her small crew. "Ready?" she asked. They nodded, faces grim but determined. "Then let's go find the Defiance." 3 months had passed since Earth fell. Kate Monroe stood in the cockpit of their small transport ship watching the stars. The ship was old and worn, but it had served them well. They had named it Hope, though sometimes that felt like a cruel joke. "Zendari patrol at 2 o'clock, Joe Martinez said, his voice low. The tactical officer rarely spoke above a whisper these days. 3 scout ships, Kate nodded. "Billy, take us into that dust cloud. Sam, power down all systems except life support." The young navigation officer, Billy Thompson, guided their ship toward a thick cloud of space dust. His hands moved quickly over the controls. At 22, he was the youngest of their crew, but his skills were impressive. Sam Bishop, their engineer, began shutting down systems. "We're cutting it close on oxygen," he warned. 4 hours max before we need to power up again." "It'll have to do," Kate said. The ship went dark as they drifted into the dust cloud. Only the faint red glow of emergency lights remained. The crew sat in silence, barely breathing as the Zendari scout ships passed nearby. Dr. Laura Phillips joined Kate by the viewport. The scientist's face looked gaunt in the dim light. "Do you really think this ship exists?" she asked quietly. Kate had asked herself the same question many times during their journey. Admiral Winters believed it did. "That's enough for me." Laura nodded but didn't look convinced. "And if we find it, what then? We're just 6 people." "Then, we make the Zendari pay," Kate said simply. After 4 tense hours, the Zendari patrol moved on. Sam powered up the ship's systems again and they continued their careful journey through enemy territory. They had seen terrible things along the way. The floating remains of Earth's once proud fleet, destroyed space stations, colonies turned to rubble. Sometimes they picked up faint distress signals, but they couldn't risk answering them. Their mission had to come first. Diane Carter, their communications specialist, worked constantly to gather any information she could find. She had compiled a collection of transmissions suggesting that humans still fought in scattered groups across the solar system. "We're not alone," she would remind them when hope seemed lost. "Others are still fighting." 2 days later, they reached the outer edge of the asteroid belt. Tension filled the ship as Billy navigated the dangerous field. Massive rocks drifted around them, some as large as small moons. "These coordinates can't be right," Billy said, frowning at his navigation screen. "There's nothing here but a large asteroid." Kate leaned over his shoulder. "That's it. That's where we need to go." The asteroid looked unremarkable, just one of thousands in the belt. As they drew closer, however, Sam noticed something odd. "Its rotation is too perfect," he said. "Natural asteroids don't spin that evenly." Kate ordered Billy to take them closer. As they approached, a beam of light suddenly shot out from the asteroid, scanning their ship. "We're being scanned," Joe said, reaching for his weapon. Before anyone could react, a voice came through their communications system. "Human vessel identified. Welcome, Lieutenant Monroe. You are expected." Kate and her crew exchanged surprised looks. A seam appeared in the asteroid's surface, widening to reveal a hidden docking bay inside. "It's real," Laura whispered. "The Defiance is real." Billy carefully guided their ship into the docking bay. The asteroid closed behind them, sealing them inside. The bay was massive, easily large enough to hold a warship, but it appeared empty. As they docked and the airlock opened, Kate drew her weapon. "Stay alert. We don't know what's waiting for us." They entered the asteroid facility, finding it cold and dark. Their flashlights revealed a control room with dormant consoles. "Power's been in standby mode," Sam said, examining a panel. "Minimal systems only, waiting to be activated." Suddenly the lights came on. Consoles hummed to life around them. A holographic figure appeared in the center of the room. A man in a military uniform. "I am Atlas, Advanced Tactical Logic and System. Welcome aboard Project Defiance." Kate stepped forward. "Where is the ship?" The hologram smiled. "You're standing in it. This asteroid is merely the outer shell. The USS Defiance lies within." At a command from Atlas, the floor beneath them became transparent. Kate gasped. Below them was an enormous warship, unlike any she had ever seen. Its sleek black hull absorbed light rather than reflecting it. No standard engines were visible, and its weapon systems looked unlike any human technology she recognized. "The Defiance was built in secret over 15 years, Atlas explained, incorporating both human innovation and reverse-engineered Zendari technology. It was designed to be our last resort." "Why wasn't it used to defend Earth?" Joe asked, anger in his voice. "The ship was not complete when the final attack came," Atlas said. "Admiral Winters sent the remaining engineers and scientists to safety. He programmed me to wait for qualified personnel to arrive." "That's us?" Sam looked doubtful. 6 people? The Defiance was designed to function with a minimal crew if necessary. Its systems are highly automated. Kate stepped closer to the hologram. "Can it fight? Can it hurt the Zendari?" "The Defiance possesses capabilities beyond any previous human vessel. However, I must warn you that many of its systems remain experimental. They are powerful, but unstable." Laura was examining data on a nearby console. "This is incredible. Phase shift weapons, adaptive shielding, a propulsion system that bends space itself, and a unique stealth system," Atlas added. "The Defiance can become virtually invisible to Zendari sensors." Kate looked at her small crew. They were exhausted and battle-worn, but for the first time in months she saw something new in their eyes. Hope. "How soon can we take it out?" she asked. "The ship is ready for immediate deployment," Atlas said. "However, I recommend a training period to familiarize yourselves with its systems." Kate thought of Earth, burning under Zendari control, of the billions who had died, of Captain Rogers and all the others who had sacrificed themselves so that some might survive. "We'll train as we go," she decided. "The Zendari think they've won. They think humanity is defeated. It's time to show them how wrong they are." Sam moved to the main control panel. I'll need a day to understand the engineering systems. Laura nodded. And I should study the Zendari tech they've incorporated. One day, Kate agreed. Then we fight back. As her crew began examining their stations, Kate walked to the viewport. From here she could see the Defiance clearly now. Humanity's last warship, their final hope. We're coming for you, she whispered, thinking of the Zendari ships that had destroyed her world. And you won't see us coming. The Defiance moved silently through space, its black hull absorbing light rather than reflecting it. Inside the bridge, Kate Monroe sat in the captain's chair, still getting used to its feel. The ship hummed around her, its systems far more advanced than anything she had ever commanded. Status report, she said. Sam Bishop looked up from the engineering station. Dark circles marked his eyes after 30 hours of non-stop work. Main engines operating at 85% capacity. The new drive system is stable, but I wouldn't push it past Warp 7 yet. Weapons? Kate asked, turning to Joe Martinez. The tactical officer ran his hand over his console. Phase shift cannons charged and ready. Adaptive torpedoes loaded. Defensive shields at full strength. His voice held a note of wonder. This ship has enough firepower to take on a small fleet. And they'll never see us coming, added Billy Thompson from the navigation station. The stealth system bends light around the hull. We're practically invisible. Kate nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. They had spent the last 3 days learning the Defiance's systems under Atlas's guidance. The AI had uploaded combat, manuals and technical schematics directly to their neural interfaces. Another piece of advanced technology the ship contained. Dr. Laura Phillips entered the bridge, carrying a data pad. I've been studying the Zendari biological data, she said. I found something interesting. She displayed a 3-dimensional image of what looked like a neural network. The Zendari operate as a hive mind. They share thoughts and information instantly across vast distances. That's how their ships coordinate so perfectly, Kate realized. Laura nodded. Exactly. But it's also a potential weakness. Their communication uses a specific frequency of electromagnetic radiation. If we could disrupt that frequency, we could break their coordination, Joe finished, his eyes widening. It would require getting very close to their command ships, Laura cautioned, and we'd need to build a specialized disruptor. Kate considered this information. Sam, can you and Laura work on building this disruptor? Sam rubbed his tired eyes. I'll need a few days, but yes, good. Kate turned to Diane Carter at the communications station. Any sign of human resistance out there? Diane adjusted her headset. Scattered transmissions, most using old encryption codes. I've detected at least 3 distinct groups still fighting. One near Mars, another in the Jupiter moons, and a third on Earth itself. This news sent a ripple of hope through the bridge. Humans were still fighting on Earth. Atlas, Kate called. The holographic figure of the AI appeared beside her chair. Yes, Captain Monroe? Kate was still getting used to her new rank. Plot a course to the Mars sector. Let's make contact with those resistance fighters. Course. Plotted, Atlas confirmed. Estimated arrival in 6 hours at current speed. Kate stood and addressed her small crew. Before we go, there's something you all need to understand. This ship is powerful, but it's not indestructible. Many of its systems are experimental. If pushed too hard, they could fail catastrophically. Sam nodded grimly. The power core uses technology we barely understand. If it overloads, it could take out half the solar system. And we're operating with 6 people instead of the 400 this ship was designed for, Kate continued. Atlas can help compensate, but we'll all need to work beyond our normal duties. Her crew looked at each other, determination in their faces. We're ready, Joe said simply. Kate nodded. Billy, take us out. Engage stealth systems once we're clear of the asteroid belt. As the Defiance glided out of its hiding place, Kate felt a strange mix of emotions. Hope, for the first time in months. Fear, that they might fail. And a burning anger toward the Zendari who had taken everything from them. 6 hours later, they approached the Mars sector. The red planet hung in space, its surface scarred by Zendari bombardment. Several alien ships patrolled the area. 3 Zendari cruisers detected, Atlas reported. They have not detected our presence. Where are the resistance fighters? Kate asked. Diane adjusted her controls. I'm picking up faint signals from Phobos. She referred to one of Mars's small moons. Take us in close, Kate ordered. Maintain stealth. The Defiance slipped past the Zendari cruisers, moving toward Phobos. As they approached, they saw what remained of a mining colony built into the moon's surface. Most of it had been destroyed, but deep scans showed life signs in the lowest levels. They're hiding in the old mining tunnels, Laura observed. Kate made a decision. Joe, target the nearest Zendari cruiser. Let's show our new friends what this ship can do. Joe's hands moved across his tactical display. Target locked. Fire. A beam of energy unlike anything they had seen before shot from the Defiance, cutting through space. When it struck the Zendari cruiser, it seemed to phase partly through the ship's shields before detonating inside the hull. The alien vessel didn't just take damage. It broke apart completely. The other Zendari ships immediately changed course, searching for the source of the attack. They can't see us, Billy said, his voice tense, but they know something's out there. Target the second ship, Kate ordered. Again the phase shift cannon fired. Again a Zendari ship was destroyed. The third cruiser began to retreat, sending out distress signals. Should I target the third? Joe asked. Kate considered it. No, let it run. I want them to know fear for a change. She turned to Diane. Open a channel to the resistance fighters on Phobos. After a moment, a rough voice came through the speakers. This is Colonel Frank Harrison. Who am I speaking with, and how did you just do that? Kate smiled for what felt like the first time in forever. This is Captain Catherine Monroe of the USS Defiance. We're what's left of the Earth Defense Force, and we've come to take back our system. There was a moment of stunned silence. Then cheers could be heard in the background of Harrison's transmission. Captain Monroe, Harrison said, his voice thick with emotion. You have no idea how good it is to hear those words. Over the next few hours, the Defiance docked with the Phobos colony. Colonel Harrison and his fighters, about 50 men and women who had survived the initial Zendari attack, were welcomed aboard. They brought with them valuable intelligence about Zendari movements and other resistance cells. The main Zendari fleet is based at Earth now, Harrison told Kate as they stood on the Defiance's bridge. They've taken over Artemis Station as their command center. Their Queen Commander directs all operations from there. Kate exchanged looks with her crew. The head of the snake, she said. Harrison nodded. Cut off the head, and the body dies. But that station is guarded by hundreds of ships. No human force could get close. We're not just any human force, Kate said, gesturing around her, and we might have found a way to disrupt their hive mind. For the first time since Earth fell, Kate felt not just hope, but the beginning of a real plan. The Defiance wasn't just a ship. It was humanity's last chance to take back what was theirs. Rest your people, Colonel, she said. Tomorrow we start fighting back for real. Word of the Defiance spread quickly among the remaining human resistance. Over the next few weeks, the mysterious warship appeared suddenly at Zendari outposts throughout the solar system, struck with devastating power, and vanished before reinforcements could arrive. Kate sat in her quarters reviewing reports from their latest mission. They had destroyed a Zendari supply depot near Europa, rescuing 30 human prisoners in the process. The ship's doctor, one of Colonel Harrison's people, was treating them for injuries and malnutrition. A knock came at her door. Enter, she called. Joe Martinez stepped inside, his face grim. We intercepted a Zendari transmission. You need to see this. They walked to the bridge together. The crew had grown to nearly 80 people now, as they rescued more resistance fighters. The Defiance had been designed for hundreds, so there was plenty of room. But training the new crew members on the advanced systems took time. On the bridge, Diane Carter sat at her communications station. I was scanning Zendari frequencies when I caught this, she explained, playing the intercepted message. The screen showed images of Earth. Zendari ships surrounded the planet, On the surface, strange towers were being built in major cities. "What are those?" Kate asked. "Psionic amplifiers," Laura Phillips replied, her face pale. "The Zendari aren't just occupying Earth. They're preparing to take control of the surviving humans." "Mind control?" Sam Bishop looked skeptical. Laura nodded. "Their hive mind could be extended to captured humans through these amplifiers. They'd have millions of puppet soldiers." Kate felt cold dread in her stomach. "How long do we have?" "The towers are nearly complete," Laura said. "A week, maybe less." Kate turned to Atlas. The AI's hologram appeared beside her. "We need to reach Earth, fast." "At maximum speed we could arrive in 49 hours, Atlas replied. "However, that would strain the experimental drive systems beyond recommended parameters." "Plot the course," Kate ordered. "We'll risk it." As the Defiance prepared to depart, they received an encrypted message from Jupiter's moon Europa. Another resistance group, led by Major Richard Nelson, had been monitoring Zendari communications. "Captain Monroe," Nelson's thin face appeared on the screen. "We've confirmed your suspicions. The Zendari Command Center is on Artemis Station and their Queen Commander is directing operations from there." "Can you send us the station's current layout?" Kate asked. "Transmitting now," Nelson replied. "But there's something else you should know. My team has been developing weapons specifically designed to harm Zendari. We haven't had a way to deploy them effectively. With your ship, we'll come to you first," Kate decided. "We can pick up your weapons before heading to Earth." 40 hours later, the Defiance approached Europa. The ice moon glowed faintly in Jupiter's shadow. 3 Zendari patrol ships guarded the approach. "They've spotted us," Billy warned. "Stealth systems are failing." Sam's voice came through the comm system from engineering. "The drive pushed too hard. We're losing power to multiple systems." Kate made a quick decision. "Drop stealth, all power to weapons and shields. Take out those patrol ships before they can call for help." The Defiance decloaked, appearing suddenly before the startled Zendari. Its phase shift cannons fired 3 times in rapid succession. The patrol ships exploded, but not before one managed to send a distress signal. "More Zendari ships incoming," Joe reported. 6 cruisers ETA 12 minutes. "Get us to Nelson's base," Kate ordered. "We need those weapons." The Defiance landed at a hidden facility built into Europa's icy surface. Major Nelson and his team quickly loaded their equipment aboard. Among them was a device that made Laura's eyes widen with excitement. "Is this the electromagnetic disruptor?" she asked Nelson. He nodded. "Designed to break their hive mind connection, but its range is limited. You'd need to deploy it inside Artemis Station itself, which means we need to board the station," Kate realized. Nelson's team joined them as the Defiance took off again, barely escaping before the Zendari cruisers arrived. As they set course for Earth, Kate called a meeting of her senior officers and the Resistance leaders. They gathered in the ship's conference room. Kate, her original crew, Colonel Harrison, Major Nelson, and Captain Patricia Davis, who commanded a converted mining vessel that had joined them near Venus. The mining ship now followed the Defiance, carrying hundreds of civilian refugees. "The situation is clear," Kate said. "The Zendari are about to extend their hive mind to controlled humans on Earth. Their command center is Artemis Station, heavily guarded by their main fleet. We have 1 ship that can possibly break through, and 1 device that might disrupt their control." "It's suicide," Captain Davis said bluntly. "It's our only chance," Colonel Harrison countered. Major Nelson spread out a schematic of Artemis Station on the table. "The disruptor needs to be placed here at the central hub. That's where the Queen Commander coordinates the hive mind." Sam Bishop studied the schematic. "We've pushed the Defiance hard these past weeks. Some systems are already failing. I don't know if she can take on the entire Zendari fleet." "She won't have to," Kate said. "At least not alone." She turned to Captain Davis and Colonel Harrison. "How many resistance cells can you contact in the next 24 hours? "Maybe a dozen," Harrison replied. "Tell them to prepare for coordinated attacks on Zendari outposts throughout the system," Kate ordered. "We need to draw as many ships away from Earth as possible." She pointed to the station schematic. "Once we reach Earth, We'll need a team to board the station and deploy the disruptor. Joe, you'll lead that mission." Joe Martinez nodded, his face serious. "I'll need at least 5 others." "Take whoever you need," Kate said. "The rest of us will keep the Zendari fleet busy." Laura Phillips cleared her throat. "There's something else you should know. I've been studying the disruptor. Once activated, it will sever the connection between all Zendari in the solar system and their Queen Commander. Without that connection, they'll be disorganized, confused. A chance to push them back," Harrison said, hope in his voice. "Or destroy them completely," added Davis. Kate looked around at the faces before her. These people had lost everything. Homes, families, their entire world. Yet here they stood, planning one last, desperate fight. "We all know the odds," she said quietly. "But humanity has faced impossible odds before. The Zendari think we're defeated. They think we're broken. Let's show them how wrong they are." As the meeting ended, Kate remained in the conference room, studying the station's schematics. Atlas appeared beside her. "The probability of success is low," the AI noted. "Below 15%. Kate smiled grimly. "That's better odds than we had 3 weeks ago." Outside the viewport, Earth came into view, their beautiful blue home, now scarred and wounded under Zendari occupation. Tomorrow, they would make their final stand. "Prepare the ship," Kate ordered. "We're going home." The day of humanity's last stand dawned with eerie silence. Throughout the solar system, resistance fighters prepared for coordinated attacks. They had little hope of victory, but they would give the Defiance its chance. On the bridge of the warship, Kate Monroe watched Earth grow larger on the view screen. Her home planet looked wounded under Zendari occupation. Dark scars marked where cities had once stood. Strange towers, the psionic amplifiers, reached toward the sky. "All hands to battle." "Stations," she ordered. "Prepare for maximum speed approach." Sam's voice came through the comm system from engineering. "Captain, I've rerouted all available power to the engines. We'll burn them out, but we'll get one hell of a burst of speed." "Perfect," Kate said. "We need to hit them hard and fast." Joe Martinez stood near the airlock with his boarding team, 5 men and women chosen for their combat skills. They wore armored suits and carried weapons designed by Major Nelson's team specifically to harm Zendari. The electromagnetic disruptor, their key to victory, was secured in a protected case. "Remember," Joe told his team, "we get in, reach the central hub, plant the disruptor, and get out. Simple." No one mentioned how unlikely it was they would make it back. "Incoming transmission," Diane called from her station. "It's Colonel Harrison. The diversionary attacks have begun." Kate nodded. "Tell all ships in our group to prepare for the final approach. Atlas, show me Artemis Station." The AI displayed a tactical view of Earth orbit. Artemis Station hung above the planet, surrounded by Zendari warships. But Kate noticed something promising. Several ships were already breaking formation, responding to the attacks elsewhere in the system. "It's working," Billy said. "They're splitting their forces." "Now," Kate ordered. "Maximum speed." Right through their formation. Sam engaged the experimental engines. The Defiance shot forward like a bullet, faster than any human ship had ever moved. The crew felt the pressure even through the inertial dampeners. The Zendari didn't detect them until it was too late. The Defiance tore through their defensive line, phase shift cannons firing in rapid succession. 3 enemy ships exploded before the others could respond. "Direct hit to port shield," Atlas reported as return fire struck them. "Shield integrity at 70%. Keep going," Kate ordered. "Get us to that station." Behind the Defiance, Captain Davis's mining vessel led a small fleet of resistance ships into the fight. They were outgunned and outmatched, but they drew Zendari fire away from the Defiance. The Defiance shuddered as another hit struck. Warning lights flashed across the bridge. "Engine overload imminent," Sam warned. "We've got maybe 5 minutes before they burn out completely." "That's all we need," Kate replied. She turned to Joe's team waiting by the airlock. "Get ready. We're going to crash right into their docking bay." Joe nodded, his face set with determination. The Defiance plunged toward Artemis Station, taking heavy fire from all sides. It's adaptive. Shields flickered as they absorbed energy from Zendari weapons, but they couldn't hold forever. Shield failure in 20 seconds, Atlas warned. Divert all remaining power to forward shields, Kate ordered. Billy, plot a direct course to their main docking bay. That's insane, Billy protested, even as his hands moved across the controls. Exactly, Kate smiled grimly. They won't expect it. The Defiance aimed directly at the station's docking bay. Zendari ships fired desperately, trying to stop them. Brace for impact, Kate shouted. The ship crashed through the station's outer defenses, grinding to a halt inside the docking bay. Metal screamed against metal. Crew members were thrown against restraints. Emergency systems activated automatically, sealing hull breaches. Go, Kate ordered Joe's team. We'll hold them off as long as we can. Joe and his boarding party rushed from the ship, fighting their way into the station. Zendari troops converged on the docking bay, their insectoid forms moving with frightening speed. On the bridge, Kate assessed the damage. Status report. Engines are completely burned out, Sam reported from engineering, his voice strained. Life support operating on backup power. Weapons at 40%. Make every shot count, Kate ordered. Keep the docking bay clear for Joe's team as long as possible. Outside, Captain Davis's ships engaged the Zendari fleet. One by one, the brave resistance vessels were destroyed. But they had succeeded in drawing away many enemy ships. Inside the station, Joe's team fought their way toward the central hub. 2 of his people fell to Zendari weapons, but the rest pressed on, using Nelson's specially designed guns to devastating effect. We're almost there, Joe told the others as they reached the final corridor. The central hub is just ahead. In the docking bay, the Defiance's weapons fired continuously, keeping the Zendari troops from overwhelming Joe's position. But the ship's power was failing fast. We can't hold much longer, Billy warned. Kate nodded. Send the signal to all resistance forces. Tell them to prepare for the disruptor activation. Joe and his remaining 3 team members reached the central hub. There, surrounded by alien technology, was the Queen Commander, larger than other Zendari, with a glowing organ in her center that pulsed with energy. The hive mind nexus, said one of Joe's team, a scientist from Nelson's group. Plant the disruptor there. As they moved forward, the Queen Commander saw them. She let out a high-pitched sound that made their ears bleed. Dozens of Zendari guards rushed into the chamber. Cover me, Joe shouted, running toward the nexus with the disruptor. His remaining team members fired their weapons, buying him time with their lives. Joe reached the nexus, just as a Zendari blade sliced into his side. Gasping with pain, he activated the disruptor and slammed it against the Queen Commander's glowing center. A pulse of electromagnetic energy burst outward. The Queen Commander screamed, a sound that echoed through the entire station. Every Zendari in the chamber collapsed, their connection to the hive mind severed. Back on the Defiance, Kate watched her screens as the effect spread. Zendari ships throughout the system suddenly lost coordination, their movements becoming erratic and confused. It worked, she whispered. Send the signal. All resistance forces attack now. Across the solar system, human fighters launched their counterattack against the now disorganized Zendari. For the first time since the invasion began, the aliens retreated in confusion. Joe dragged himself back to the ship, the only survivor of his team. Medics rushed to help him as Kate met him at the airlock. We did it, he said, his voice weak from pain and blood loss. The Queen Commander is dead. The hive mind is broken. Kate helped him to the medical bay, then returned to the bridge. Despite severe damage, the Defiance's communications were still working. She opened a channel to all human frequencies throughout the system. This is Captain Catherine Monroe of the USS Defiance, she said, her voice steady and clear. The Zendari command structure has been neutralized. Their forces are in disarray. The fight for Earth is not over. It has just begun. All remaining human forces, this is your call to arms. They believed humanity was defeated. They were wrong. As her message spread, resistance fighters emerged from hiding all across Earth and throughout the solar system. The Zendari, without their hive mind connection, could not coordinate their defense. For the first time in 3 years, humans advanced instead of retreated. On the bridge of the damaged Defiance, Kate looked out at Earth. The battle was far from over. The Zendari still outnumbered humans. Their technology was still superior. But now humanity had hope. They had a fighting chance. "Prepare for repairs," she told her crew. "As soon as we're able, we join the counterattack." Sam grinned through his exhaustion. "I'll have her ready to fight again in 48 hours, Captain." Kate nodded, allowing herself a small smile. They thought they had won, but they never understood humans. We don't know how to stay defeated. Outside the view screen, Earth waited, and this time humanity would take it back.